today. I'm here in Tokyo, Japan, and I am so excited to be with you. So we'll be talking about young learner agency, and I have lots and lots of activities and strategies for you. So are you ready to get started? Let's begin. So what is learner agency? Learner agency refers to the feeling of ownership and a sense of control learners have over their learning. This information comes from the Oxford University Press Learner Agency position paper. Learner agency. Learners have a growth mindset. Do your students ever say, I can't do this? We want them to say, I can try it another way. Or do they ever say, this is too hard? We might need to tell them, this is a little bit challenging. We have to work at it. Or I only stick to the things I know. But challenges can help us grow. So we want to build on their growth mindset. In learner agency, learners have the ability to learn and improve. Learners take risks. They are resilient and they are confident that they can learn from their mistakes. Why is learner agency important? Well, in short, learners who develop their agency are not only prepared for success as language learners, but also for the challenges and opportunities that life affords beyond the classroom. Teachers, we are helping our young learners make a difference in this world. We're going to help them be successful. Are you ready for the challenge? So thank you to everyone coming from all over the world. It's just amazing to see all the places you're from. So I grew up in a place called St. Cloud, Minnesota. And in that small town, my mom and my 4 sisters all learned to bake. My mom loved baking things, and did my sisters. So I started learning my mom's banana bread recipe. And little by little, I started to change it a little bit. So we're going to learn about how we can use this idea of taking something we know well, following the recipe, and making small changes, doing some research, changing it so that it's ready for us. Thank you to everybody. Looks like you're ready to go. Here we go. So how can we support learner agency in our young students? In our PYP program, we talk about student voice, student choice, and student ownership. And I'll be talking about all 3 of these throughout the activities we're doing today. Okay. Some of you are maybe in places where it's nice and warm. Here in Tokyo, it's a gray, gloomy day. It's time to go to the beach. What do you need to go there? Please write in the chat box, what do you need? Are you ready to go to the beach? I see people said, I need sunblock. I need slippers, sunscreen, a hat, towel, flip-flops. Wow. So with my very young learners, I will tell them we are going to have an adventure. Gosh, I can't read them with all of my sunglasses on. Sandals, sunglasses. Wow, great. Are you ready to go? So I have prepared a little box here, a little kit. And in my kit, I have my friend Froggy. He has dressed, so he is ready to go to the beach. Like you said, he has sunglasses, he has his beach clothes, and he has his slippers or flip-flops. But here at the beach, I also have found some interesting things. What do you think is in this little tin? Look, I brought it back from the beach. Look. I have a beautiful shell. And look, Froggy's beach towel. He's all ready to lie down at the beach. A ball that we can play with at the beach. An orange fish. But look at what else is in my pail. I found some other things. Let me show you the next slide and let's see what you might see. Look at this picture. What do you see in this picture of the beach? What do you see in this picture? I see people said flip-flops. What do you see in this picture? Yes. I see a towel, umbrella, food, hot dog stand, kids playing, a dog, towels, a sailboat, children. So our students have many things that they can talk about that they see in this picture. Thank you for all, wow. That's amazing. So what we want to focus on is this area at the top. We're going to focus on some of the shapes, and I see some of you have spotted them. Did you see the circle in the picture? Did you see the heart in the picture? Did you see the square? Can you find it? Oh, a coconut tree, yes. Did you see the triangle? Did you see the rectangle? Did you see the star? So our students can find all of these things in the picture. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to be working on making shapes today. So if you're online with your students, it's really fun to be able to get these things prepared at home, and they can prepare their hats or their special sunglasses too. So we're all part of the party. Now we want to make some shapes. Let's look at the circle. How can we make these shapes? Can you make a circle with your fingers? Now I can't see you, but this is how I'm making my circle. Can you make your circle a little bigger? Can you make your circle even a little bigger, maybe using your arms? And maybe you could even make your circle with your whole body. Wow, big. Okay, let's try again with this, the heart. How can you make a heart? I can make it with my fingers. I can make it bigger with my arms. How about the triangle? So with our students, we would make each one of these shapes with our students. I won't do that with you today, but we would know that we would practice each one of the shapes using our fingers, our arms, and our whole body. So what kind of feedback would I give my students? Well, take a look at this picture of the students. These are students who are kindergarten age students. They're ages 4 to 6, and they were making these shapes. What do you notice about these shapes? So you can see the students are making shapes with their fingers. There is a star, and I'll show you the star in a moment. Look at the shapes that they're making. You can see one child is thinking about it with her fingers. How could she make the triangle? They're all thinking about triangle. How can I make a triangle? Can you see how they're thinking about it? Can you see what I'm doing? I'm not showing them, they are thinking about it. All of them are making a triangle, but they're making a triangle in different ways. One child with the lavender jacket is making it with her arms. Some of them are making it small with their fingers. Some of them are still trying. This is the point. We want to help them. We give them feedback to get it to the right place. We want to make sure that they know a triangle has 3 sides. Yes, they are very focused and they are so engaged because there are many, many right answers. Someone asked about the star. It's really hard to make a star by myself. I can do this, a twinkling star. But these children also have mommies at home. So the mommies said, "Mommy, come." And they made the star with their mommy. So that was a fun way to do it. These are my students at Saycent International School, and they were working in partners to make all the different shapes. Now, in our book, we have a song or a chant or song. So I like to have the students read a rebus, and this is so easy to do. I take the words I, see, and then I put the picture card and put the punctuation after it. So I see a star, punctuation mark. And when I do a period, I go, they always laugh. That's so funny. So they have sight words, picture cards, and punctuation. Then we can think about the movement. If we want to say I see we can think about how would we do that? We could say I. How do you want to do see? So some kids might say see, or see, or see, and then they make the shape star. By myself, I might have to just go like this. Okay. So now we have all of the shapes here. I have only written out the sight words twice because there's not enough. Yes, children love songs. I've only written the sight words twice, but we would write this 6 times on the board. I see a star. Let's practice. I see a star. I see a circle. I see a heart. I see a square. I see a triangle. I see a rectangle. And at the end, we clap our hands 3 times. Clap, clap, clap. Stamp your feet 2 times. Stamp, stamp. And then we go, hooray. Okay, are you all ready? I would like to stand up. So let's all stand up if you can. And let me get the audio on. Here we go. I see a star. Hey, join me.
I see a star. I see a star. I see a circle. I see a heart. I see a square. I see a triangle. I see a rectangle.
Clap, clap, clap. Stamp, stamp.
Hooray!
One more time.
I see a star. I see a circle. I see a heart. I see a square. I see a triangle. I see a rectangle. Hooray!
I'm afraid you were getting feedback. I see a star. I see a circle. I see a heart. I see a square. Square. I see a triangle. I see a rectangle. Clap, clap, clap. Stamp, stamp. Hooray. I'm so sorry about that because it kept on clicking off again. Anyway, thank you so much for that. My students might say, let's add instruments. So I have some little things here. I have some little jingle bells. Each student in my class has a jingle bell. Our 100 yen store has little drums like this or little shakers. So it's kind of fun for them to add those things too. Okay, great. Thank you for your positive feedback. Now, when we finish, we celebrate, and it goes like this. We say, we did it. We did it. We did it today. Let's join me. We did it. We did it. We did it today. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. Great job, everyone. Okay, our class at the beach is ended. So we're going to put those things away. So what could students do after this class? What could they do on their own? Well, the kindergarten children made shapes. They made different things like rockets. They had a party room. These were really interesting things they did with paper. Students could also look for shapes at home. Can you see the thermometer has a circle? The tape has a circle. The pencil sharpener has a circle. Oh, yes, and someone said cut. Of course. The students might cut things like the heart out of some paper, or they might make shapes out of pipe cleaners. They could easily play with the pipe cleaners and make it. Oh, thank you. I wish you were my teacher. That is so sweet of you. Little by little, students might be able to use that phrase, I see a, and they might say, Kathy, I see Harry. And students can look for other things that they love so much. Our class puppet, Harry. My students are very comfortable making body shapes. And so now that they've made the circle with their fingers, they can start to make letter shapes. So it's easy for them to start making the letters. So if you're online, you need to think about which way works. Is this C for you? They can easily make those letter shapes as well. You can see these students are making the letter D, a capital D, small d. Once they get used to making these shapes, they can go on their own and make all their own ideas. In the position paper, that you'll be able to see by the end of this month. There's a paper that talks about low learner agency and high learner agency, and we have a lot of practices there that I'd like to share with you. These practices are easy for us to use as young learner teachers as well. So let's explore strategies to nurture high learner agency. So when we were at the beach, we were building anticipation and a sense of wonder. I pulled things out of the box. I had Froggy. I had my sunglasses on. That's called the mystery box. And that's really fun. I'll show you it again in another lesson. We engage our students. We continue to create a sense of wonder. They looked at the picture. We pre-assess. What shapes do our students already know? Then we don't need to spend much time working on those. What do we need to practice? So in doing this activity by asking them what they see, we can pre-assess what they know, and then we can build on those things. We want to make our teaching learner-centered. We explore vocabulary in many different ways, and we want our students to create their own ideas. We really want to give ownership over to our students. How can you make a circle? Show me. It's so much fun for our students to do that. They are so happy when they can do that. I use the multiple intelligences pizza as a way to come up with lots of different ideas when I'm teaching. So for example, word smart. I made sure that the students could read sight words. They could read the pictures, picture smart, or making these shapes with paper. Logic smart, making sure that there's a clear pattern. I see a star. We need to provide young learners with some frameworks before they can go off on their own. Music smart. I love to use songs and chants with young learners. They stick in their head long after our lesson. And body smart, as you saw, if you're in a tiny space, students can even just use their fingers, their hands, their arms, and finally their whole body. People smart, you could see that the students were doing things together. They were working with their sister, working with their mom, a partner. Self smart, I decide my own idea. And nature smart, we look at the categories. So in a learner-centered classroom, students have choices. I love to give my students choices, and I first model the choices. I listen to their ideas. We need to help our students build confidence first by showing them some things. We show them part of it, what to do, and then we can go on from there. So I give choices to build creativity. I give choices to build confidence. So for young learners, I'm thinking of kindergarten age, 2 to 6-year-olds. I give them 2 choices to start because I want them to say this or this. So I'll show you, this is so effective. We say, think, 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 think. What should we do? Please try it. Think, 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 think. What should we do? Now, if we were thinking about the shapes, I might say, should we make a small circle or a big circle? Should we jump or should we run? So I use this in almost every single class with my young learners because I want to give them choices. Think, 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 think. What should we do? Even one of my 2-year-olds was practicing this other day, and his parents said, it's so fun. In my lessons, as you saw before, we need to give feedback to guide, assess, and affirm each student's learning. Here you can see little Haruka. She's making her own Valentine heart mouse, and she wanted to write a special message to her mom. So I needed to give her feedback. How should she write this? What was she doing well? What could she improve on? What could she do to make it more interesting? So in a classroom with high learner agency practices, you as a teacher need to respond to what's taking place in the lesson. If your students say, let's make purple mice, then we need to find the paper. We need to do things that are interesting for them. We're constantly responding to what's happening with our students. I'm just going to move this over. Students reflect. and what they can do independently. So we want to encourage them to think about what they can do. I can make shapes with my fingers. I can sing the song, I see a star. I can find things around my house. That's important. Okay, let's go on to another lesson. Imagine that your students are learning these 6 adjectives. So we have an idea of the vocabulary that we want to practice. If we're going to be learning about adjectives, what might you do to start teaching adjectives? What would you do to build high learner agency with very young learners? So we have 6 adjectives here: long, short, fast, slow, big, small. If you have some ideas, you can write them in the chat box. I'm going to show you the next slide. This comes from Magic Time. So in this lesson, you can see we're at an aquarium. How fun. And the students can find all of these things again in the picture. They can see the big whale and they can see the small fish. So if you are at school, you can, if you're face-to-face, you can bring things out. For example, I have another bag, and let's see what's in my bag. Look at what I have. I have a very long pencil. And I got this from Vietnam. I know some of you are here from Vietnam. And I have a very short pencil. Long, short. Also in my bag, I have a very big cup. And I have a very small cup. Oh, sorry, I'm missing some of the chat here. You're writing and it's not coming down. Describe a person, place, or thing. Yes. Ooh, perfect. I thought it was stuck. Yes. Ooh, dance the adjectives. Whoa, great ideas. Thank you. Okay, so here are some big things and small things. Let me show you what my students did. So I'm teaching my group of young learners online. And so they went and they found things and we snapped pictures of it. You can see they have 2 toys exactly the same, but one big, one small. A ball, one big, one small. A pencil, one long and one short. You have body language too, exactly. So I have a simple chant and we can do this without using the sound, but I need your help. We need to, yes, bring things to school or bring things I find. If you do this as a scavenger hunt, I usually do 2 things at a time. Find the long, then find the short. Or find long and short together. Find big and small together, but don't find everything. It's too much. Okay, let's stand up and make some ideas for this chant. How could you make a movement that's long? So show me long. And now show me a movement that's short. So we're going to say long and short. Long and short. Then we clap our hands, clap, clap, stamp our feet, stamp, stamp, long and short. Then we're going to do wink one eye, then jump up high. Next, show me something that's big. Ready? Big. Big and small. Big and small. Clap, clap, stamp, stamp. Big and small. Show me how you want to do fast. Fast. Oh, I see some people thinking fast or fast. Decide you're fast. Fast and slow. Fast and slow. Clap, clap, stamp, stamp. Fast and slow. Okay. So with your students, it's fun for them to make their own ideas. I can't see you, so I can't tell what you're making, but you need to read your room and watch what the students are doing. And you point out the things that are great happening. Oh, Chuck is doing this. Katie is doing this. We point out those great things. I see Shiori is doing this. Point out those great things. The words wink one eye, then jump up high are not in the music. So I added that, and someone mentioned rhyming words because that's important in English. Now we can also have our students make other chants. So I have a game that my students play, and they have puzzle cards. So they can find the puzzle and they fit together, and then they can make their own chant. Wet and dry, or hot and cold. I'm sure you can think about other things that you could do to put two opposite words together. Okay, super. Let's move our magic box out of the way. We did it. We did it. We did it today. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay. Now let's think about colors. If we're thinking about colors, colors can be a clue lesson. Colors might be something that we often teach with very young learners. And I'm sure many of you know this story called Brown Bear, Brown Bear. And in this story, we have so many of the different colors that we might teach children. I have my furry bear box. And in my bag, I have a brown bear. I have a red bird. But I actually even have I have a blue horse. I have so many things. I have an orange fish. I have the bird. So what we can do with our learners, if you're online, it's really fun to do this. Do you see how I have these things here? I'll just put 3. With young learners, you can just take away one thing and you can say, close your eyes, what's missing? And then they tell you, oh, the red bird is missing. So it's a nice way for them to practice. If you have 3 things or 6 things, you can just flip your screen down and they can see the area right in front of your screen. So that's really fun. And it's a great way to practice those colors. So I have all of these colors. I usually introduce colors with the book Brown Bear, which is a fun thing to do with the kids. Okay, let's go to the next slide because I want to show you how this is a CLIL lesson. So in CLIL, we want to talk about mixing colors. Students are going to inquire into how secondary colors are made by mixing primary colors. The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. We want to make the 3 secondary colors green, purple, and orange. So let's see how we can do that. One way that our students can mix colors is by using colored pencils. So you can see in the drawing, I have some colored pencils and the students can color together and they can mix those colors. That's really fun. I also have these tiny little chips. So we give students a phrase. They need to have that sentence stem so they know what they're talking about. So what happens when we mix blue and yellow? Let's see. Here's blue, here's yellow. Can you see? Blue and yellow make, can you see it? Green. Blue and yellow make green. And it's so fun because they can hold them up to the light and they can look. What if I have blue and red? Can you see what happens? Blue and red make purple. And red and yellow together make orange. So it's really fun for the kids to have hands-on materials to try this. Colored pencils, crayons, chips. Now someone said, what happens if we mix all of these colors together? You can kind of see in the top corner there. If I mix all of these colors together, what's in the very middle? What color would you get? If we mix them all together, we would get the color brown. And the cool thing is, if I mix my green, yellow, and blue with red, I will always get brown. If I mix purple with yellow, I'll get brown. So the chips are amazing. Yeah, you can also use paints too. But this is a really fun lesson for kids to do. So we have something at our school called exit tickets. And sometimes we'll do this individually or we'll do it as a class. If you have very, very young learners, you'll need to talk about this together. What did we learn when we were mixing colors today? Oh, when we mixed red and yellow, we made orange. What am I still wondering about? My students love the color pink. And they said, how could we make pink? That was another question they had. So it's really fun to do this with very young learners. You need to do it together because they're not writing. They can also draw pictures of what they've learned. Okay, leaves in autumn. I think some of you were from places. Oh yeah, how can we make white? Great questions. Watercolors. You guys are so clever. Okay, leaves in autumn. Japan has the most beautiful leaves in the autumn time. It's so beautiful here. We have leaves like this. This is the ginkgo leaf. We have these beautiful big oak leaves. We have cherry leaves. And I've saved these from the fall. It's already winter. But I have a picture here. And as you look at this picture, you might use this visible thinking strategy. I see, I think, I wonder. I see, I think, I wonder. When you look at this picture, what do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? Oh yes, autumn is coming to Argentina. Yeah, you can use this with adults too. This is not just for very young learners. The first picture were leaves from United States, from my state, Minnesota. The second picture are leaves from Japan. The students said things like, I see leaves that are all different colors. They're rainbow. They're yellow and green. Some of them have circles. I wonder why they have circles. Then we had fun playing. And playing is so important when we're learning with teaching young learners. So the kids had so much fun. They took the leaf and they dropped it. How did it fall? They played over and over again. We crumpled some leaves. We put them on paper, crumpled them up because these leaves are dry. The green leaves are wet. So the students watched the leaves fall. They used many different kinds of leaves. And we asked, did all the leaves fall in the same way? Then they tried things like pencils. How does a pencil fall? Wow, that was really fast and really noisy, but they really loved it. Then I gave them scarves. And the scarves were so much fun. So I have scarves. If you teach young learners, you have to get scarves because they're so much fun. So the scarves float to the ground just like leaves. And so they played orange scarf, red scarf. They got to choose which color did they want. And then I taught them a simple song. And I'll just show you this song. I have it recorded, but I'm just going to show it to you here. So if you have a scarf, you just drop the scarf down. Down, 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 down. The leaves are falling to the ground. And the children disappear. Whoosh! And then we add the colors. Red, yellow, orange, and brown. The leaves are falling to the ground. Whoosh! And then the students get to play with the leaves. They can toss them up in the air. Well, scarves, toss. They can turn. They can swirl. They can crush them up. So it's so much fun because we really want to give students chances for choice. Which color do they want? How they want to play with it. So through inquiry, students and teachers together ask questions. We explored and the students used their imaginations. Oh, we had so much fun. Look at the expressions on the children's faces. You can tell how much they enjoyed this activity. And they could all talk about the beautiful leaves. What happened afterwards? Students went out, they found big leaves, small leaves, colorful leaves. We did it. We did it. We did it today. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. I'm so glad you liked that. I didn't share the recording with you today, but I have that recording online. So my kids have been having fun with winter. Just a moment. Now it's winter time. So before my class, I would always send a note to my students. Please prepare these things. So I might say to them, please prepare your hat, or please prepare some gloves because we're going to talk about winter. This is a very famous story too. I don't know if you know what it's called, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. My students love this story and they love talking about winter. We have not had snow in Tokyo, so the only way we can have snow is by reading our story. So I asked the children, what do you do in the winter, or what would you do on a snowy day? So they were thinking. Well, someone said sori, which in Japanese means sledding. Or they might say ice skate, which is ice skate. Or yukidaruma, build a snowman. Or ski, throw snowballs. So we thought about all the things and we made a list. And then they looked at the story. Now, I'm not going to read the story today because we have limited time, but the students looked at the story. Do you know, if you ask your students to listen for something or look for something, it's a great way for them to be engaged. So my students often predict or they think ahead to what's happening. So in the story, we can see the things that might happen on a snowy day. We see sledding down the hill. We see things like jumping tracks. We see poking at snow. We see throwing snowballs. We see making snow angels. Nobody thought of that. So the students listened, and then we said, let's make our own snowy day. So we said, think. What should we do? Think. What should we do? And I made a little song for them. So it went like this. I'm just going to sing it to you because I can't hear you. So I'll sing it to you. It goes like this. What should we do on a snowy day? I'll do that again. What should we do on a snowy day? Snow, it's a snowy day. What should we do on a snowy day? And then we go like this. Think. What should we do? And the students might say something like, let's throw snowballs. And I said, yes, how should we do it? And they got their scarves and they went like this. And they squished it up and then they went like this. Wow. And it was so much fun. And we just made snowballs. We'll throw snowballs on a sunny day. We'll throw snowballs on a snowy day. We'll throw snowballs on a snowy day. We'll throw snowballs on a snowy day. And then we can start again. What should we do on a snowy day? Snow, it's a snowy day. What should we do on a snowy day? Think. What should we do? And the children can add all of their own ideas to that story. So we could have a long story. They could draw pictures. But the nice thing about a story like this is that the students can use their home language. And if I don't understand it with so many different languages, I can ask Siri, what does this mean? We can also decide as a learning community, what ideas should we put in our snowy day story? And we put them all together. So these are my children. They were so happy making their scarf snowballs. Isn't that fun? We did it. We did it. We did it today. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay, let me take off my snowy day clothes. Wow, that messes up my hair. Let's talk about projects. I'm sure that many of you use projects with your students. Projects are a great way for students to connect all the pieces that they have in their learning so they can make choices and express their ideas. They have ownership over what they are making. So as you can see in this project, students were learning about music. How can we make music? And they had a choice to make a percussion instrument. Now here are my students. We did this project at school. Students can do projects at home or at school, but we enlisted the help of our art teacher. And the students used things like pet bottles and stickers. And this student also had some little beads, and she put the beads inside. It actually has a very nice sound. But students talked about, how did you make it? What did you use? Do you play it by shaking it? Do you play it by tapping it? So they had to explain what they made and how they played it. When students have a project or even anything that we do in our classroom, we can use this assessment. This comes from the Oxford University Press website. It's called 2 Stars and a Wish. And we can use this. Oh, thank you. I'm missing some of those. When my students are working, there are many ways to give feedback and to tell them what they're doing. One thing they can do is self-assess. What did I think I did well in my project? They can also work with a partner. The partner can say, I thought that your instrument was beautiful. It had a very nice sound. I wish that you would have added more color to it. So they can give each other feedback. As a teacher, I can also use 2 Stars and a Wish to say what I thought was great about my students' work and what the student could improve on. So I've put this form here twice because there are many different ways that we can use it. Okay. With my older students, they've been learning about origami. And in class, origami is, here in Japan, it's very common to do origami. So the students learn the language, fold, first, second, next, about the steps in a process. And then they taught each other. My students practiced at home first. They said, what do I need to explain? Because these origami were much more difficult than what we had in the textbook. So they had to explain step by step. And then we talked about, what did you do well? What could you have improved on? And so that was a really powerful thing. Having students teach each other something that they are really good at is a great way to show learner agency. And we often have activities in our textbooks, but we can take them out of the textbook and we can expand on it. These are my little ones. They were learning about A and B. And then they took this, they took A and B, and they looked around their home and they said, where can I find A? And they wrote those words and they had a list. And so these are all the words that they found and all the book words that they found. So excited. They had ownership, they had choice, they could choose what they wanted. My kindergarten students, oh my goodness, they are so darn cute. So they decided that they would make a shop. What kind of shop were they going to make? They decided they would make an ice cream shop. What would they call it? Unicorn ice cream shop. If you teach kindergarten children, you need to know about unicorns because they are so popular. What kind of ice cream would they make? They decided they'd make strawberry, blueberry, mango. Thank you. Chuck is here helping me out because your comments are not all here. Thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you. Anyway, the students chose these different kinds of ice cream. They used some paper clay to make them. This is one of my colleagues. She made paper clay. And then they invited people to come to their shop. They said, what kind of ice cream would you like? Monica, they did not have vanilla ice cream. They did not have chocolate ice cream. They did not have coffee ice cream. So the children said, oh no. So they had to revise their menu so that they had the flavors that everybody wanted. So when they came, the students asked, and the teacher had provided a prompt. What kind of ice cream do you want? Do you want a bowl or a cone? And they had made play bowls and play cones. And then they practiced scooping it up into the cone, and then we pretended to sit and eat the ice cream. So that was a really fun experience. And every single one of our kindergarten classes made some type of play shop. One shop made a Santa Claus Christmas shop with like elf hot chocolate and things. It was very cute. Okay, we're coming kind of to the end, but let me tell you about this. As a PYP teacher, we expect our students to understand who they are. We want them to take risks. We want them to take action. And so when we're doing things with our students, we give them strong role models. The material we give them, we want them to make sure that they're reading something that's important. So in this story, Mayor for a Day, which is in our award-winning Oxford Discover book, the ELTOC award-winning book, I was actually mayor for a day when I was in high school. And so we wrote about that in this story. So we want to encourage our children to take action and do things. Now in your class, there's a lot of information in this story. One thing that you could do is a jigsaw activity. So you give some students one part of the reading, some students the other part, and the students have a chance to read just one part of the reading. You need to look at it as a teacher to decide which parts you want to make sure that you have parts that give them enough information. You could divide this into about 4 parts. And so the students read each part and then they say what happened in their part of their story. Maybe they would say, I would do this like Marcy, or I would do something different. And what action would they take? Another thing that you can do is you can do a carousel walk. So students could say, this is what happened, and they could draw a picture or write things about what happened in their part. And then students walk around the room to see what happened in the other parts of the story. Oh, I'm glad that you read that with your 4th graders. It's one of our favorite stories. So when we think about where we're at as teachers, learner agency is a step in a new direction for us. We have to give our students more choice, more voice, more ownership. We have to think about what we can do with our students so that they can be really involved in their learning. So for you, flip lessons too. So for you as a teacher, when you start, you're in your comfort zone, and now we go out of it. And as you start, you'll start growing quickly. You'll begin to love challenging yourself, and you'll realize that your fears are fictional. You replace regret with excitement. You'll laugh at your past self. You'll find out more about your strengths and weaknesses. This is important because we need to be models of this for our students. You'll boost your self-confidence. You'll create a new source of satisfaction, and you realize that the only way to success leads you through discomfort, and you'll begin inspiring people around you. When we do this as teachers, our students will see it in us. So let's think about that banana bread. When I first made banana bread, I was following the recipe. I did it exactly as it said. Just like you might see in a textbook, do it exactly this way. But then I started to make little changes, things that were important to me. Add chocolate chips, do something different. Then I started to research. If I want to make this gluten-free, what do I need to do? What kind of flour should I use? What do I need to do to make it as nice as this bread? And I try and try again. I really wanted a good banana bread. It's so good that I've shared the recipe on my Facebook page. So if you want to find it, you can find it there. So one thing I think is so important for us as teachers, it's CCBA. So remember that. It stands for Catch Children Being Amazing. When you watch children in your class and you try to we capture those wonderful moments of success with our children. We watch them. Mickey was struggling with her letters. She was struggling with the order of the letters, and here she was. She did it all by herself. She put them together. I took a picture of it. I take pictures of my students when they are being successful. So affirm your students and celebrate their successes. So let's all remember, thank you so much, everyone. Let's celebrate your success today. We did it. We did it. We did it today. We did it. We did it. Hip, hip, hooray. So if you would like to stay in touch with me, I'm on social media in many different places. My husband and I have a blog at magictimekids.com. Please feel free to check that out. I have some videos on YouTube. You can check those out. We're on LinkedIn. We have at academia.edu, some research with music, things on Twitter, Pinterest, and so on. So I am so thankful to all of you. I can't believe that you've come from all over the world. Some of you, it's your nighttime. Some of you, it's your early morning, but I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to Ollie and to the Mod Squad because they did a great job helping out today with this session. I want to say again, thank you to all of you. Thank you to the team in the UK for helping me put these ideas all together. And thank you to my husband who's been off screen helping with everything. So I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Yay to all of you. Thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Well done, Kathy. Kathy, can you hear me? This is Ollie speaking.
I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Great. And hi, everybody in the audience as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to direct Kathy. We have about 5 minutes for questions or anything final with Kathy. So Kathy, on your Q&A tab under Published, now not participants, you can't see this. You'll see a list of questions there, Kathy.
Thank you. I see it. So I see a question. Yeah, has everyone seen this? I want to make sure you see about the position paper because that's where I drew a lot of my inspiration from today. So do you introduce instruments to do what? When I use instruments with the kids, it's just another way for them to enjoy playing, enjoying the music. So for example, when we did the snowy day, sometimes my kids would add this for an extra little sound, or if we're doing like, let's cook together, they might use a little instrument to add extra sound.
And Kathy, that question was from Amelia R. Was that right?
Thank you so much. That's right. It's from Amelia R. Thank you for reminding me of that. Now, Amir said, what can we do to students who keep their cameras off all the time? How can we ensure their engagement and participation, please? That is a really tough question. To be honest, I don't have that problem with my students because my students really want to show me what they are doing. If it's something that would be a rule in your school or a rule that you would like, another thing you could do is just to ask the student, is there a reason for not having the camera on? Sometimes we as teachers might make our students feel uncomfortable if we're saying, Amir, what's the answer to this? Some students may have a little bit of uncomfortable feeling. So that might be one of the reasons. You can also ask students as part of their, if you're giving a participation grade, it would be important for them to keep the cameras on. So Katarina K, you're also a KK like me. How long does the lesson take with the kindergarten children? 30 to 40 minutes or even an hour? How long do they keep their attention? Well, I have two answers for that. I have very young learners at school and I meet them for 35 minutes at school. A group of about 17 to 18 children come to my class and I teach English through music and movement. The online lessons that you saw, those children are actually online for 1 entire hour. But how do I do that? With variety. So we always start with some type of movement activity. And I change activities or things about every 5 to 10 minutes with those little ones, sometimes even more often. I have everything prepared for those students, and then I'll tell the parents in advance, today you will need to prepare something big, or today you'll need to prepare a hat. So they're ready and they're wondering what's going to happen. Tamara asked, how can we adapt these ideas to work with students who have ADHD? That's a challenging one too, right? A lot of children with ADHD have some challenges with space, with energy in the classroom. A lot of times ADHD children really appreciate the movement aspect of things. So if you can find out what are the things that help this ADHD student, you need to figure out what works for that child. I've had several different children in my career as a teacher. Some of them need absolutely, how should I say, routines. They absolutely need routines. When you do your class, you need to start with the same things. You do the next thing and the next thing. Other children thrive more on variety. They need to move. So you need to know what works for that student. Oh, yes. Okay. Yayu said, how can we encourage students who are too shy to participate, even when they are studying at home? I think, you have to take baby steps. Things like this when it's like, it's easy to make a circle. Can we all do this? We need to find the things that help them to feel confident. Sometimes you may need to ask the parents, is there something that is a connection? So for example, I tell my children, my students, bring your stuffed animal every class. So at the beginning of class, they know, oh, I have my stuffed animal, and they feel comfortable, they feel safe. So that might be a strategy that works for you, that they have something like a safety blanket. Marjorie asked, how can we do these activities with learners who have autism? It's kind of the same as the ADHD too. My autistic students, I haven't had anyone who is extremely autistic. I've had students on that spectrum. So I haven't had personal experience with that, but I think using some of these same things, understanding what the students really resonate with is important. You need to spend time affirming that student, knowing what works for them. Okay, 2 minutes left. Maria Teresa, what strategies can you use to give feedback to kinder or pre-kinder learners? A lot of that is this physical feedback. I saw Mary Teresa making a beautiful circle with her fingers. I saw Maria Guadalupe making a triangle with her arms and her elbows. So if we say, I see this, the students hear that in the room, and then they might look, oh yeah. If we see that it's not right, I see Maria Teresa trying to make a circle. Let's try doing it this way. How about this? So you can give them some other alternatives. Maria Guadalupe, what about the use of mother tongue during the application of these activities with very young learners? Yes, mother tongue is very important. We want to build the strength of their mother tongue as well as the strength of English. So for example, when I showed you the snowy day, in that book, The Snowy Day, we talked about what would they see. And my students said a lot of the things in Japanese first, and then we talked about what that would be in English. Okay. Oh my, we have so many more things.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
1
So
minute.
Amir asked, how would you also please say how we can communicate with kindergartners, exit tickets? In the same way, the students, you can explain things. So talking as a group, what did we learn today? So with all of us, today we learned about learner agency. We learned many different strategies for applying learner agency in our classroom. How did we do that? Today we learned about mixing colors. Today we learned about making shapes. Can you remember one way that we did that? So instead of writing it out, we can talk about it with the students. We can also ask them as they walk out of the room, Amir, what did you learn today? And students, one student at a time can tell us as they go out, what did you learn? And you can do the air high five as they do that.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Kathy, this is Ollie. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ollie. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. It's a difficult decision for me because I know Kathy is keen to go through the literally tens of questions that we've got, but I'm going to have to bring Kathy to a close as we prepare to move to the next session. So a big thank you to Kathy Kampa and her husband, Chuck, who was in the background. I could hear him helping out. Good to have him here today as well. And thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending. It's been a wonderful session. So I'm just going to make a few closing notes in about 20 seconds. Go ahead.
May I just say, if anyone has a really pressing question that they'd like an answer to, please feel free to email me. I'll go back to the slide before so they can email me if they have a pressing question. I'm happy to respond to that later.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kathy. So in a few seconds, the room will close automatically and you should all be shifted to your next session if it is session 2.